Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 11 of the BB27 Companion, with an asterisk, of course, because we are still catching up. Today, I am talking about the content that would have released on Monday, so 2 days ago. And that's focused on sort of Jimmy's decision to nominate Amy, as I've kind of been talking about some of the others, but I really want to focus instead not on the decision itself, but on the type of decision this is, right? For those who don't know, my laptop's broken, so I'm using a temp, which is why I've been behind. We're catching up. I don't know if I'll make it to the review on Thursday morning, like I would hope, for I'm fully caught up, but should have at least another video out today, so I should have 2 today. Fingers crossed. That being said, let's talk about this week's topic, which is safe HOH gameplay versus bold HOH gameplay. And when do you do one, and when do you do the other? Because sometimes HOHs need to make big moves. It is really important an HOH takes a big swing and gets out someone who's really detrimental to the game. Gets a swing that they succeed in, right? And other times, it's good for an HOH to play it safe. Not rub any feathers, keep everything just as they've been, and not do anything to change the dynamic of the game, right? And different HOHs at different points have different incentives on what to do. You know, I'm going to start, and a lot of times I think players are counterintuitively supposed to do the other. People who think they need to play it safe should be playing really bold, and people who are playing really bold should be taking a second and really thinking about where it is. At the end of the day, I think the first thing is bold is typically the way I think you should play in most cases. For one, you almost always have someone who is worse for your game than everyone else in the house. If you can get that person out, your game will be in a better position, right? That is most usually sort of a core component of it, right? When someone is going to target you, by you getting them out, it means that the next HOH cycle, you have one less person you need to worry about putting you on the block and sending you home. Now, because of the blockbuster, you could say that there's some changes around that, but generally speaking, you should always try to get out the person who is worst for your game. That could be someone who is a big piece of the power structure, and by taking them out, you're forcing the power structure to split apart. That could be you taking a shot at someone who is just not working with you or in your alliance, or barely in your alliance. But often taking out the person who's best for your game is taking out the person who's most targeting you, who you know is targeting you the most, or someone who is in such a good position that unless they are targeted, they have so much safety that's really going to be really hard to take them out later. Someone who's so well set up that unless you're taking out pieces around them or the person themselves, while you have the chance, you're going to struggle. That is sort of what bold gameplay is. And then there's safe gameplay, which is doing the thing that most people in the house want, right? That often means taking out a house target. That means not ruffling any feathers and taking out people on the outside of an alliance. That can mean spending your time on a proxy fight, taking out someone's ally that's not in the alliance versus your own. And that can also just mean kind of just letting things be as they go, or go as whatever, and keep things sort of the same, keep things on the same track. And that means just nominating random people who are just like block pawns and still will be on the block pawns forever, right? There's a safe HOHs can actually be really important. I think there are different moments where it's important. One is there is a point at the game at which you have to get out the goats, the people who will not win in the end, because if they make it to the end, you are going to have a really hard time getting your spot, right? If I don't, like, in Big Brother 23, one of players' big arguments, and I think it was Derek F versus Derek X, ? One of her big arguments was, why are we getting rid of Derek X when Derek F is a clear GOAT, who if we don't take out now, he will make it to the end. Because no one is going to spend their HOH taking him out. We have an opportunity here to take out someone who no one's going to take out later, who's just going to get the second place because everyone knows they can beat him. And that is really dangerous because he's still a vote. He's not in our favor. And he's also, no one's ever going to take him out. So it's a good chance to get him out, right? I think there are HOHs like that where you have to take out a target like that. There are also HOHs like Xavier in 23, Derek week 3 in 16, where Derek says, hey, Devon's this house target. Everyone wants him out. I'm going to use my chance at power to make everyone feel as good as possible by taking out this person everyone wants out. Saying, hey, I'm with you. That's why I'm taking him out. Saying, hey, I'm with this other group of people. That's why I'm taking him out. And meanwhile, you build more power. You cement power. When structures are falling apart, by taking out that house target, you spend your time building because everyone's focused on that one target. And there's not a lot of debate about who should go home. And so everyone's in agreement. I think the blockbuster has talked about yesterday makes that harder to do. But I don't think the blockbuster eliminates that. And I think a safe HOH is really important. Where I think people often get stuck is they think a safe HOH should be the default. Because the safe HOH sounds like a good option. You think to yourself, I don't want to piss people off. I don't want people coming for me. I don't want these things to happen. But and so by not targeting anyone, none of that will happen. No one will come for me. But you run into situations like Jimmy, where he tries a safe HOH, and when that fails, rather than trying to take a bold swing and redirecting focus elsewhere, he's now still trying to play a safe HOH, but his safe options aren't really as easy. And because they're not consensus targets, they're block pawns and everyone who has people like and have different opinions on. And so by not having a consensus target anymore and also not taking a bold shot, it's leaving him with this feeling of, oh, you're doing nothing, but you're trying to just shake no waves, and so it's hard to trust you. It's telling people, I don't know where Jimmy stands. I can't trust where Jimmy stands because he's not taking a shot in the direction, right? And whereas before it was, oh, you're taking a shot, but it's a consensus target, and everyone's okay with that and feeling safe because Jimmy's taking out the target for them. And so for someone like Jimmy, I think you have to say, okay, Keanu failed. Who am I going to backdoor? I think a lot of times that can be missing. People say, oh, well, I failed my target. My target's going to stay in the house. I need to burn as few bridges as possible because that's really dangerous. Rather than saying, okay, now is the time to push for a backdoor target. Who is dangerous? Who I need to get out? Who I haven't put up on the block? Who can I get enough people to vote for? Who is coming for me? That's the bold swing. I try to take the safe swing. Now I have to go for the bold swing because the safe swing is not there. I think the problem is when your safe swing is kind of doing nothing, that doesn't help you a lot. I think there are other examples of where this approach happens, where people try to take a bold swing, it fails, and so they take a safe swing, which I think also work. An example of this would be if I'm gunning for this big target, everyone is torn, but people are like, okay. Sometimes people take the safe swing afterwards to sort of appease and build trust with the big alliance. An example of this would be Cliff in 21. He takes the shot at Jackson and I forget who. And basically Christy has the diamond veto. She doesn't end up using it because Cliff makes a deal with her that basically I won't waste your power in return for trust and safety. And he uses that power pretty effectively to build something. Now, I think in many ways they got kind of lucky because the alliance was still very soon to fall apart. But that, and you had someone like Jessica to really cement that breaking of an alliance. But for someone like Cliff, him taking that safe shot after trying to go for something bold was a way to build trust, saying, hey, I'm listening to you. I can be persuaded by you. The problem is Jimmy's not doing that. He's not being persuaded by anyone. He's just saying, I'm taking a safe move that no one wants. I think Vince was kind of similar. He wanted to take safe moves only. So he's nominating Kelly when no one wants Kelly up. And he wishes Kelly being one of his own allies because it's going to what the safe move to do. And so a lot of people are coming out of that week not exactly trusting Vince because he's not doing the things that they want him to do. They're not feeling that they can persuade him. And instead, by taking a safe move here, when there's not a lot of, there's no one who's thankful for the safe move, right? I think when you're in a big alliance and you've got it, and you have a couple weeks till this alliance sort of reaches a boiling point, especially if it's 2 weeks, right? And you're instead in proxy phase. Oh, you take out a proxy target, someone not in the alliance, but connected to someone in your alliance, the group that you're not connected to. And when you do this kind of thing, you're taking a safe shot because you don't want to piss off the alliance. You want the alliance to stay safe. So that way next week you're safe because the alliance is going to say, oh, we're an alliance working together. We're instead going to prioritize other proxy targets for each other, right? The challenge is safe gameplay has its moments, bold gameplay has its moments, but I think for a lot of players, they struggle to know which to do. They often want to take bold shots when there's still a lot of time left. And for example, they want to break up the alliance a bit early because they're really frustrated with this person in the alliance, when if you wait like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, till either you get power or one of your closest allies gets power, and then take the shot, you'll have that opportunity. But by taking the shot now, you're breaking a lot of trust with a lot of different people. Or when you should be playing it safe. Or there's this really good option of cementing a lot of power because of the safety. So you're not taking out someone who's better for your game to take out in terms of the targeting or percentage of people who might target you. But it's better because you're making a lot of people trust you, you're turning people who would target you into people who wouldn't target you. That's sort of my thought on bold versus safe HOH gameplay. There's a lot more I could say. I'm trying to keep these videos on the shorter end because I've got a couple more to record and edit. But thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe. I'm telling people to subscribe now because it is a goal of mine to get up there. It also helps with YouTube algorithm stuff I'm trying to get discovered. Liking does the same. So it's very useful, especially if you listen this far. It means that you're at least kind of enjoyed what I have to say. So thank you so much. If you haven't seen, there's a channel post update with some thoughts about what's going on, some metrics about where I'm looking at. Definitely check that out if you're curious. Have a great one. Bye.